Hey, what's good, all? How's it going? And welcome back to Nerdology 5280. This is episode 52, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. We're diving into new characters, story, future, brief review, you know, whatever we feel like. Um, as always, though, before we dive into it, of course, I hope you know who I am by now, but I'm Jamie. And then on the other end of the mic slash video, yes, we are live again, so there is a video of it. We have Ryan.
Hey, friends, welcome back.
So, hashtag nerd life, Ryan.
Hashtag nerd life.
As we forgot last week, the week before wouldn't have worked too well, but during our 50th episode. But yeah, hashtag nerd life. What's been going on this week? What's anything interesting in nerd life?
Yeah, a couple things. I have been on a quest to collect some of my childhood favorite video games.
Nice, nice.
So I was able to win a couple auctions on eBay. I picked up X-Men 2: The Clone Wars for the Sega Genesis, and I
Okay.
picked up X-Men Mutant Apocalypse for the Super Nintendo. So pretty excited. I should be getting those right before the weekend starts. I still got to find my Genesis. I know it's in a box in my garage. There's only a couple I have left to get to, but I did track down my Super NES. So
Nice.
pretty excited to jump in. Yeah, if I can't find my Sega, I'll probably just end up getting like a Retron 5.
Hmm. It's a great system. I mean, we got to play around with it last year during some of the extra life stuff, and it's a fun system to play. So the
Yeah,
controllers, a little iffy, but you know, you have kids, those controllers would work out really well.
yeah, and I mean
So
they're iffy as far as the controls, but like they're Bluetooth, so they're a lot better than like the Retron 3 where they were
yeah.
like infrared.
Hmm.
So unless you're sitting, directly in front of the TV or in front of the system and pointing it right at it, it's not registering very well. So I mean, at least these ones there's some range.
Yeah, exactly,
So
exactly. You won't have the kids tripping over cords or anything like that. So
right,
um, anything else this week? You know,
yeah. One of my very good buddies was able to track down a particular pop that him and I were both looking to find, and luckily he's only going to charge me retail price and not
That's what she thinks. I'm just kidding.
and not the second market price. So I'm really excited about that. I believe they are one that you showed off on your recent cherry on pop video.
They're actually the thumbnail. Got one on each
There you
side,
go.
like, cover my ears.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm really excited. I mean, you know how I feel about the Empire. I'm definitely an Imperial guy, so this is a great addition to my Imperial officer collection, which entails Grand Moff Tarkin and Director Krennic and five
Yeah.
different Darth Vaders.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and by the way, you've been told you cut your hair finally. Allison
I
texted me.
did, yeah. I cut my hair.
She
Well,
didn't
my
touch
wife
it.
cut my hair.
Yeah.
So
I told him earlier that he doesn't quite look as much like a dog, So anyways, yeah. This week, yeah, well, you're talking about Grand Admiral Tarkin. If you haven't seen the character, please go check out my Cherry on Pop episode 10 that I dropped. I was lucky. I was very, very lucky to come across it just walking around in Toys R Us. And I never really went to Toys R Us for Pops, so I figured walk around, see what they had. They always have some exclusives. I was actually looking for, I was tempted to get the Green and Red Ranger 2 pack that they had just because it's the
oh,
Green Ranger, the one with Rita and Zordon. But I was like, once I saw it, it wasn't as impressive as I thought. So I
no
just
bummer.
dropped it, and I'm like, forget it. I guess there's nothing here that I want to get, even though they had a freaking 1,000 pops sitting on the shelf. So I'm walking away, and I was like, I turn around, and I see something on the end caps, and I'm like, I'm just kind of briefly looking at. I look down, and I see this box, and I'm like, I see a blue head on top of it. I'm like, um,
Hmm.
okay. So I pull it out and I'm like, I think this is what Ryan was looking for.
Yeah.
You know, I wasn't going to pick him up, but he was there, and I'm like, all right, screw it. You know, I'm gonna get two of them, and then you're like, just buy the whole box. There was five of them there.
Yeah. I was
You
like,
know,
dude, get them all.
I think it's the last five Toys R Us probably had.
Probably. I mean, I still check the Toys R Us website, because it's like they'll hold the products for 5 days or whatever, and
Yeah.
if it's not like picked up, they'll refund the money and put
Mhm.
the item back on the shelf.
Yeah.
So I've been watching to see if any of them will like come back into stock, because someone bought it and then for whatever reason I hate to cross my fingers that something bad happened to somebody, but
Yeah.
it was you never know what's going to happen. Someone or they'll buy it online, put it on
Yeah.
hold, card doesn't go through or whatever,
Yeah.
transaction ends
Yeah.
up getting declined, so Toys R Us have to put it back. I haven't seen any. So those five that you found, it sounds a lot like divine providence, man. Like that was
The
divine intervention right there. Someone was smiling at us from up above.
the date on the box is April 13th, so it was delivered on the day of the Star Wars celebration. So
Wow.
there's no more deliveries supposedly from what I understand going out whatsoever. So yeah, someone was like, I think these guys need to have these, and here's
Yeah.
a couple
Yeah.
extra just for the hell of it, let's give them, make some extra cash or something.
Yeah, man,
But
hang on to those until
yeah,
the next season of Rebels is over. There's a new Thrawn book coming out, so I mean, people are going to be catching Thrawn fever here.
yeah.
It's not going away.
As long as they don't bring out any other pops with Thrawn.
Yeah,
If they bring out
yeah,
another of his, then it's done, on the price. But I
yeah,
think we're pretty safe. So
yeah.
this will be the first pop that I don't unbox, and I will actually buy one of those protector cases that they make for it. So yeah,
I actually have one, not the hard plastic one, but like the just
okay,
the plastic
yeah,
cover. When I bought my Deadpool Dress to Kill pop, the
hmm,
person who I bought it from on eBay, when they shipped it, they popped it into one of those.
oh
So
nice,
when I get my
nice,
Thrawn, I'll probably put the Thrawn in there and keep
nice,
that one in the
nice.
box.
Yeah, that works. That works. Um, my week, I mean, really, it wasn't too much. I mean, I was just doing some videos and stuff like that, and of course, finding that pop and whatnot. Um, I picked up a lot of good comics though. There was
Nice. What'd you get?
it was a big week for comics. Very, very big week. Especially the X-Men universe.
Yeah, the only
So,
universe that matters. No, I'm just kidding. Not the only one, but
no, I'm just kidding.
it's up there.
So, of course, I picked up X-Men Blue, Gold, and Weapon X. All three of
Nice.
those because the first three were great. So, as far as I wanted for now, I'm gonna keep them going. We'll see. Maybe if they start to go downhill, I'll be like, who knows? But yeah, I got those three. And then sticking with the Marvel comics and all that, I got the issue 2 of Deadpool versus the Punisher.
Oh, nice.
I also picked up the Darth Maul issue 3. So,
Right on.
yeah, I mean, for Marvel, that's what I got. I know you picked it up, but I also got the XO Man of War. Yeah,
Nice. You're
picked
gonna
up the
stick
issue
with it for
two.
now, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So,
Excellent, excellent.
now, got that there, and then, of course, got a few DC ones. I had to pick up the Flash. I get the
Well, naturally.
lenticular issue, so
Oh, you got it?
yeah.
Put it up.
I
Let's see. You got it. Is it right there with
No,
you or?
no, it's
Oh,
not with
okay.
me. I should have. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So
Dang.
I got I've gotten both of them, the Flash and Batman one now because they had them at all seas. They got a lot of them
Nice.
there. So
Nice.
um, so I got that, and then also I picked up Justice League of America. I got the fifth issue? Yeah, fifth issue in that series because that's actually a really good series. I'm enjoying that. And then the new mini series of Batman and the Shadow.
Oh, there you
So
go. There you go.
yeah, and I think I saw that Voltron Volume 2 issue 1 came out today, and I almost picked that up. I didn't really see it, but I almost picked it up. It's based off the cartoon.
The old cartoon from when we were
No, the
kids,
new
or Legendary Defender?
Legendary Defender.
Oh, very cool. So it's all
I was.
updated, and
Hmm.
it's the new character, the new Lance and Shiro and all those guys.
Yeah, yeah.
Very
So
cool.
I was tempted, but yeah, no, I held. I don't know, 9 comics this week. Yeah, and
It's
of
quite a
course
bit.
I forgot to do a pull list again. So
You gotta get one set up, man. You gotta get one set up. I should
well, it's
start
all there.
texting you Wednesday morning, like, get it set up, dude.
Yeah. Well, it's I got to do it 48 hours in advance
Oh,
for that
okay.
to work. So, but yeah, then
Right
they'll
on.
have it every week, and All Seas stays on top of their stuff. So, got to rep
Yeah.
some All Seas. Definitely some All Seas. So,
Yeah, I mean, they're great, and they have, they get it directly from the distributor and all that, so you can rely on them. The store that I get mine from, they're I don't know how they get their stuff, but they don't get it necessarily directly from like Diamond. I think they get it
mm-hmm,
from a third party distributor, and
mm-hmm.
so sometimes they're behind on stuff. But I actually had 8 comics in my pull list. Naturally, the 3X titles that came out, Blue, Gold, and Weapon X #2. So I picked up all those and read them already. Loved it. Picked up XO Manowar #2 from Valiant Comics, and then I also had Flash on my pull list. This week's Flash, and then last week's Batman. They haven't gotten those ones in yet, so those are still on their way. And then 2 other comics. I added another Valiant comic, which is called Britannia, We Who Are About to Die. And it's #1 of like a 4-issue little mini series that they're doing. It's kind of a follow up to this like major event that they had last year, which was also a little mini series. And then No World or No Worlds from Aspen Comics, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of a follow up to their Aspen Universe Revelations that they did last year, where they actually established that Aspen Comics is a shared universe. So this is kind of
Yeah.
a thing where it's another one of those universe wide crossovers where they're continuing to establish the whole Aspen Comics is a universe now, and it's
Mm-hmm.
not just a publisher that puts out non-connected titles. So pretty excited for those. I've been a big fan of Valiant and Aspen.
Nice, nice, nice.
Yeah,
Cool, cool. So it was a good week. Good week for hashtag Nerd Life. So, um, of course, now let's dive on into some Guardians of the Galaxy. I watched all
yeah,
the
let's do it.
trailers again, and I am so excited for this movie. I mean, it looks comical. It looks like it's got a great story. It's not built into the MCU in a sense. It's got its own, story where it doesn't affect the MCU like the first one kind of did. The first one did. So,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm definitely excited for it. So, quick recap. Tell us a little bit about Volume 1.
yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume One came out a couple years ago. Was it 2014? Was it
Mm-hmm.
August 2014 that it
Yeah.
came out? So it was kind of right in the middle of Phase Two, or I guess yeah, it was Phase Two, huh? Yeah,
Yeah. Phase 2.
yeah,
Wow. Because we're
kind of
Phase
yeah.
3, so.
Yeah, crazy. And we're almost done with Phase Three. It was like next year, and then it's pretty much over, and then they're moving into Phase Four for the most part.
I thought Phase
Well, I
4
mean, we'll
is
get
not until 2020.
yeah, I mean, we'll get the follow up with like not Infinity War 2, but Avengers 4 is kind of like the end of
Infinity
Phase
Gauntlet.
4.
Because
Yeah.
you heard that was spoiled.
Well, yeah, but then after that, the dude Gunn came out and said, "No, that's not what it's called. That's just the working title for it right now."
Yeah, I mean, come on. It
Why would
was.
you do Infinity War and then Infinity Gauntlet? Like, it's not even going to sound cool.
Yeah, but still, you know what the premises is going to be. Come on. That just spoiled the
Yeah.
whole movie because you know
I
exactly.
really don't, dude. I'm not familiar with the Infinity stuff at all.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
have no idea like what to expect for Infinity War or Avengers 4.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
don't. So obviously next year and the year after when we do our episodes,
Excuse me.
we'll read it and then I'll
Yeah.
kind of have an idea of what to expect. But I kind of like going in blind, and no no Marvel movie to date have I gone in as blind as I did with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1. Like this is a comic property that I knew very little about, next to nothing really. My only working knowledge of Guardians of the Galaxy before seeing the movie was a trading card from like 1992, and none of the characters on the trading card were even characters in the movie. So I really had no idea what to expect coming in. And the movie itself, just in a nutshell, there's this little boy on Earth in the 80s. His mother is sick with something, cancer of some sort, leukemia, something like that. And she dies. And in anger, he runs out of the hospital, gets picked up by aliens. And then, we see this kid that was taken as an adult, and it turns out that he's kind of a thief. He's been palling around with this group of thieves, and he backstabs them to try to find this item that his whole group had been hired to find. He kind of goes rogue, finds it himself, tries to get the money for himself. Because he's selling this item, he crosses paths with a couple other characters who are, two of them are bounty hunters, and they try to pick him up. Another character is also trying to get the item that he originally had. And so the four of them come together. That's Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, and Groot, the big giant tree. And then, of course, Nebula, the green chick. So in a nutshell, that's who those four characters are. They get arrested.
Nebula is not the green.
Sorry, not Nebula, Gamora.
I was like, she's blue. Wait, what?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Sorry, Gamora. So the four of them, I'll recap then because now I've confused the listeners. So Star-Lord, Rocket Raccoon, Groot, and Gamora. They get into a big fight over this item, over collecting the bounty on each other and whatnot. So they get arrested. They're sent to this prison. There they meet a fifth character named Drax, the Destroyer. They all kind of team up because they realize that they actually have a common enemy, who's this alien dude named Ronan. And so they devise a plan to break out of this intergalactic prison. They're successful, but when they break out, they're, the Ravagers, that's the group that Star-Lord was initially a part of, are now trying to hunt them down. Anyway, they have this item. They go to sell it to this dude named the Collector, who is just this intergalactic collector. He drops a ton of knowledge about these things called the Infinity Stones or the Infinity Gems. They're one and the same, different terms, but one and the same. And basically there's just these really powerful items. And it turns out that they have one of them, and that's actually what Ronan wants. There's a scene where, we get to see some more of Thanos, the big scary looking purple guy from, that we saw a little bit in Avengers. We actually get to see him quite a bit here. Turns out that Gamora was one of his daughters. He's got another daughter named Nebula. That's the blue chick. Sorry for the confusion earlier. So now she's teaming up with Ronan because they want to get this item. Yeah, it's pretty good. There's this big double cross where Ronan gets the item, but rather than deliver it to Thanos like he promised, he's actually going to use it to destroy, his enemies. And then the Guardians of the Galaxy actually team together because they realize, whoa, like we're scumbags, but this guy is going to like wipe out an entire planet. So we should probably stop that. And they actually become, reluctant heroes at the end, and they team up and they're able to stop Ronan. And that's pretty much Guardians of the Galaxy in a nutshell. It was a surprise hit. It was just a really good movie. These characters were all so fun to watch. Their interactions were great, and the effects were fantastic, Very different from any of the Marvel movies up to that point, and kind of a turning point, I think, for the MCU. That was really the movie where they decided, like, wow, we can tell great stories and, like, be funny and fun. Because you got to think, like, the movie that came out just before Guardians of the Galaxy was, like, Winter Soldier. And at that point, it almost seemed like the MCU might actually be going dark, despite what Feige was saying. And then Guardians of the Galaxy comes out, and it's just this fun, high energy, fun, funny movie with just great characters, and took a turn.
It was one of those where it was so different than any typical superhero movie because they weren't heroes to begin. None of them were.
No, not one of them.
I mean, and It was enjoyable. There was a lot of great action sequences. The acting was great. The music is what made the movie. I mean, the music, if they didn't have that music, that movie wouldn't have been there. It's, hands down. Volume 1 was amazing, which then, of course, leads into Volume 2. So we're going to have to wait and see with Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 how that works in, because he's going to have another mixtape. I mean, however that happens, but we'll talk about that later. Um, but yeah, it was such a great movie and it was fun to watch. I remember I didn't see it right away, but I saw it within the first week or two. Um, and I just loved it. I fell in love with the movie. I was like, this is great. I never thought I'd love a talking raccoon and a tree. I mean,
Yeah, like who knew that you were actually going to like these characters and that they would actually be believable as characters in the MCU? Because I mean, by this point, everyone knew that it was a Marvel movie. Like after the Avengers pretty much became this giant hit, and everyone jumped onto the Marvel bandwagon, and there's plenty of room. People need to keep jumping on. Uh, by then, it was everybody knows now that all the movies are connected at least in some way,
mhm.
and I think there was a lot of skepticism just because it's like, hold on, we have all these human characters, they're all on Earth, and then suddenly we're in space with a talking tree, a green chick, and a raccoon. What the heck?
Yeah,
And it was so good,
yeah, exactly. I mean, who would have thought that a tree that says 3 words the whole movie,
right?
and you're like, he brought so much passion with those 3 words. It's like, okay, but this isn't a review of the first one. It's just more of a talking about it, and they didn't even know that it was actually going to go on to a second because the post credit scene.
Right.
They didn't want to tie it in quite to the point like that. Yeah, it was tied in because of the Infinity Stone, but still, you know. Um, but Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Obviously we get awesome mixtape number 2.
Hmm.
Volume 2 there, which great music. I don't have the track list up, so I couldn't tell you all the tracks.
Oh,
Um,
I pulled it up if you wanted to go through it, or
yeah, we can go through real quick if you
I can go
definitely.
through it. I can just
Yeah,
name the songs.
for sure.
So there's 11 songs on Awesome Mix Volume 2, and there's so many songs on here that I love. So Mr. Blue Sky by Electric Light Orchestra, or ELO for those of you who are in the know.
Uh huh.
Fox on the Run by Sweet. Lakeshore Drive by, I'm going to butcher this name, Aliota Haynes Jeremiah. The Chain from Fleetwood Mac. This is like one of my favorite all-time songs. Bring It On Home to Me from Sam Cooke. Like to me, Sam Cooke is Motown. Like I know that Motown started before Sam Cooke and it went on a lot longer after he'd stopped breaking tracks, but like Bring It On Home to Me is just such a great song. It's just a sweet, wonderful song, and Sam Cooke is amazing, and I'm just throwing that out there. I love Sam Cooke. So when I saw that, I'm like, yes! Like it's not even his most popular song or anything, just freaking great song. Southern Nights from Glenn Campbell. My Sweet Lord from George Harrison. So you might recognize him as, one of the Beatles.
Mm-hmm.
Brandy, You're a Fine Girl from Looking Glass. Come a Little Bit Closer by Jay and the Americans. Another great song. Love that song too. Wham Bam Shang-a-Lang from Silver, and Surrender by Cheap Trick. So, I mean, just like every single song on here is just, it's like they said, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome songs.
Awesome Mix Volume 2. I mean, it fits so well for this style. I mean, you saw how it was built with the original one and him not knowing any of the Earth culture except to the point when he was taken. So that's why the music fit really well with what he had, and then this one, of course, continuing it on because he still hasn't been back to Earth since. So
Yeah.
it's I'm really excited to see how they pull each one of those songs into it like they did last time. you know, I'm definitely excited for that. So, um, Well, what do you want to move on to first? You want to talk about some of the characters? I mean, it's we can briefly go over. I mean, we've got mostly the same characters. I mean, it's direct. Of course, this is being directed by James Gunn again, and which
Yep.
is and that was the other thing that made the first one awesome, and then this one, is going to be great, is because James Gunn is a true comic book nerd. He has read this stuff. He has been around it all his life. He knows this stuff. I mean, he loves it all. So
Yeah.
it helps out. It helps out a lot. Um, Characters. So of course we have the returning, seven of them. The seven kind of, I guess, six main ones, really, that you saw. Well, five main ones, and the two of them that were kind of there a decent amount, but
Yeah.
not a lot. And that's, of course, we've got Star Lord, Peter Quill, which is played by Chris Pratt again.
All right.
Gamora, by Zoe Saldana. Drax, by Dave Batista. Baby Groot, which is being played by Vin Diesel. But the little catch with him this time is he does not remember anything that happened in the first one. So
Oh,
when he was, killed in the, not really killed, but protected all of them in the first one, he forgot everything because he's completely regenerating everything from a little piece of wood.
oh
So,
well. Okay.
and then we've got Rocket played by Bradley Cooper. Um,
Nice.
Yondu being played again by Michael Rooker,
Yeah.
and Nebula by Karen Gillian. So,
Excellent.
or,
So all the original cast is coming back. They don't have to recast anybody, which is great.
mm-hmm.
All terrific actors. Very excited.
Yes, yes. Only a couple things with the original cast that I wrote down. Um, One, this time we know Yondu does join the team,
Hmm.
so he
Hmm.
becomes a guardian.
Nice.
And he's being hunted by the Ravagers. So he was in control of the Ravagers the first movie. This time he's being hunted by them.
Interesting. So it looks like another double cross
Yeah, yeah. Well,
or a mutiny of some. He's kind of
something like
Yondu's like
that.
Marvel's Captain Jack Sparrow now, kind of
Yeah,
perhaps.
yeah. In a sense, yeah. It's the way you can look at it.
So it makes sense. I mean, in the first movie, they set up that there's definitely some history and possibly even some mutual respect, at least between him and Peter Quill, Star Lord. So
Well,
naturally, if the Ravagers turn on Yondu, then he's going to seek out his only, quote unquote friend in the galaxy, being
mhm.
Star Lord. So that's cool.
And we know that.
Totally, I'm sure that there will be a totally organic way for that to work into.
Mhm. We do know that Yondu does know Peter Quill's father. We know
Yep.
that because
Yep.
of he was hired in the first one. We were told to get Peter Quill to take him to his father, and of course he ended up not doing that. Um, but yeah, we do know that. So, and then the one thing with Nebula, we think she joins the team, but does she? We don't know.
Huh.
So it seems like at points they find ways to make it work, but then we're not sure, in a way.
Yeah, I mean, they
So,
kind of set it up like that in the trailers, so it looks like sometimes she's working alongside. But in a lot of the promotional photos I had seen where it was like the actual team, she's not in them, but Yondu is.
yeah, yeah. So we'll see how that works in, I guess. Um, all right, new characters. New characters. So, who's new? Who do you want to start with?
There are a couple new characters that we get to see. It looks like one of them is going to be on the team as well. So let's start with Mantis.
Okay. What do we know about Mantis? Who's playing
Well,
Mantis?
I have no idea who's playing Mantis. I was shocked actually when I saw her the other day.
Yeah, I really can't pronounce her last name. I know she's
That's all
being
right.
played. The first name's Palm.
All right.
Yeah, and then it's Clem in Tiff, Clementif, maybe. I don't know.
All right.
So Palm Clementif. That could be right, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, she's new to the team. What other special things about her?
Well, despite her insect-like appearance, hence the name Mantis, she
Yeah.
is an Earthling.
Mm-hmm.
She is from Earth, so that'll be interesting to see how she ended up in the galaxy. We know Peter Quill was taken from Earth, but
In the
we'll see how
movie,
she
is
gets
she
in.
from Earth though?
Again, we don't
Yeah.
know. We'll see, huh?
Yeah. So I think the movie's gonna do away with her being from Earth. I really feel because I know she is from Earth in the comics. Um, because her first appearance was actually in the Avengers
Hmm.
issue 112. It was in June 1973.
That's right. So she is an old
Yeah.
character.
So she's been around for quite a while, but in the movie, it's different. And we can talk about that later more in the plot of the
Okay.
movie, kind of some of the stuff that I've read and went through. But um, she is, we do know she's Star Lord's half sister.
Nice.
Yeah. So it could be either the father or mother's, you know, half of it, but if you put two and two together, if she's green, looks like an insect, that only makes sense that who is the half that it's from and where the other half, we don't know where it comes from, but of course it's got to be Star Lord's father.
Oh yeah.
So,
It's got to be that way. It's got to be
yeah.
that way.
See, that's why I was saying I
So
don't think she's
nice.
from Earth in the movie.
Well,
And
I mean, we know in the comic that she has pretty close ties with the Kree,
yeah,
but we know that in the MCU, the Kree canonically are actually blue.
true.
So who knows? You know, they might
Yeah.
not go with the Kree. They might go with a different alien race. They
Too
might
bad.
actually specifically talk about the Kotati. So
Hmm. Too bad that we can't get into the scrolls and stuff like that. Green scrolls. Yeah.
yeah, I wonder if they'll just keep going in with the Chitauri, since the
Yeah.
Chitauri is another type of, it's another word for scroll
Yeah.
in the comics, and it's a way to kind of be able to use the scroll without actually using the scroll, since I think Scroll falls under the Fantastic Four
Yeah, it
umbrella,
does.
which then would,
Because of
of
Super
course, fall
Scroll and stuff
into the
like that.
Fox,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and then her powers. What
Yeah,
are
her
we?
powers are very interesting.
Yeah.
Her powers are quite varied.
Yeah. What do you know of her powers? Because I only really wrote down most of what the movie is going for. So.
Yeah. Well, she's a martial artist, of
Mhm.
course, because I mean, what character in the Marvel universe isn't a martial artist? I think it's like superhero 101. They're like, we're gonna have to teach you how to be a really good hand-to-hand fighter.
Yeah.
So she's a grandmaster level martial artist. She has empathic powers, so she's able to like tune into feelings and things of other people, which we kind of see in the trailer. But she's
Hmm.
got a couple other powers that we don't really see in the trailer for the movie, which is a
Yeah.
couple of them like plant manipulation, poison ivy style, and then
Hmm.
also astral projection. So it looks like
Yeah.
she's got some telepathic powers as well that we don't really quite see come out in the trailer. So just a varied power set. She's got limited abilities and a couple of different things.
Yeah. Yeah. Which we know the emotions and sensing it. It's all by touch. So if she has to touch you to sense that.
Hmm.
We see it, of course, yeah, like you said, with the trailer, with her touching Peter Quill and brings out his deepest, darkest secret, and Drax just starts cracking up, and he's like, do me, do me. It's
Yeah.
like, that is awesome. That is awesome. Which I think
Drax.
Drax in this movie is gonna be hilarious throughout it, at least from everything
Oh
we've
yeah.
seen. You know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
The straight man usually is the more funny one, you know,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
in
So
the comedic realm. You know, the straight man is usually the guy that doesn't get the jokes and therefore says a lot of things that are, you know, double entendres because he doesn't realize what he's saying,
yeah,
you know, or
exactly.
just is sarcastic without actually being sarcastic. And we saw that in the first movie. And yeah, I'm really excited for Drax in the second
Definitely.
one.
Me too. Me too. So moving on from Mantis, of course, let's of course move on, which ties her into Star Lord, and the
Okay.
one character that I do have to say I didn't expect them to use, but they ended up using him, and that's of course the character played by Kurt Russell,
Hmm.
and that's Galactus. Just kidding.
No.
What?
It's Silver Surfer, dude.
Oh,
He's the Herald of Galactus.
that's right. Oh Lord. We're talking about Ego the Living Planet. So he's been around since the beginning of time. Um he's been in the comics I know for quite a while.
Oh yeah.
So he originally appeared in Thor issue 132. He did a cameo, but then his first full appearance was in issue 133, and those were back in 1966. So
Nice.
he was originally, which it's interesting that they put him in here since he's been a lot more with Thor in the sense, but,
Hmm.
you know,
Well, he originated in Thor, but
yeah,
most of
he
his
moved.
stuff actually comes from like Fantastic Four comics and
Yeah.
things like that. You know, where he's really closely tied in with a lot of that stuff. I mean, he's
Mm-hmm.
part of the Nova Corps and stuff like that, but the Fantastic Four seem to be the ones that really explored the cosmic out of the actual like cosmic characters themselves.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
Fantastic Four is always the ones that have a lot more to do with space. You know, with like the jokes we were making earlier with Galactus and Silver
Yeah.
Surfer and stuff.
That's true. That
So,
is true.
and if you remember, this was actually Fox had the rights to Ego, and Fox and Marvel traded rights for certain characters, and that's how Marvel was able to get Ego in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did a little wheel and deal in the scene,
Yeah.
in the back end. And there you go. There you go. Um, so Ego, the living planet. We know, of course, he's a living planet. I mean,
Right.
putting two and two together. He is being played by Kurt Russell in the movie, which I think is going to be a great choice. I really do. I like Kurt Russell. You know,
Oh yeah, Kurt Russell's great.
yeah, he's great. So yeah, played by Kurt Russell. We know, at least in the comics, of course, Ego was created by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. So two greats in the comic industry.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can say that.
To say the least.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Um, he has got a couple of or one alias that I came across when I was reading, and that's Nove Xander that I saw. I didn't really go into much more than that, but yeah, I just know that he's been known by. There's a couple of them, a couple of the new characters that have a couple of aliases that they were known by first, and then it's changed and stuff like that. So,
Nice.
um, but yeah, Ego the Living Planet is of course in the comics. He was born in the Black Galaxy. Created wasn't he created by the Celestials? Was it? Or was it the Elders? I
Uh,
don't remember.
Possibly. Well, I know that he's one of the elders of the universe,
Yeah,
so I don't
he's
know
one
if
of
he
the
was
Elders.
actually
That's right.
created.
Yeah. So I mean, he was of course born after the creation of the universe, but
Mhm.
um, that's really all I jumped into for his backstory. Um, he's been kind of a character that I don't even know if they've used for a while.
He's had sporadic appearances in the 2000s
Yeah,
and 2000 teens and stuff like that, but not a
nothing.
major. thing. He kind of comes and goes. I think his time when he was appeared in the most stuff was, back in the '80s. In various Fantastic Four and Silver Surfer comics and things like that. There were some big stories that he featured in, and then in the '90s, he got tied up with Thor, some of
Mhm.
those characters again. But yeah, for the most part, the early 2000s and 2000 teens, he's kind of showed up sporadically.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Um, so so yeah, it's kind of cool that they're pulling something like this in here. I mean, it's something different and not what you'd expect. We've probably seen bits and pieces of what he looks like as a planet, but we really haven't been shown what he is like going to officially look like when he's in his planet form in a sense. I mean, Kurt Russell really is just kind of a piece of him that he sends off out there. That's
Right.
not the real ego. It's just like a. It's like literally he takes a chunk of himself and throws it out there.
Yeah, it's almost like a golem that
Yeah,
he's able to control with his mind from eons, across the galaxy and stuff like that. And obviously, it's made up of his own like living body and stuff, so it's a living thing. But it's just it's him. It's him that he's sending out there. So that's
yeah,
how he's going around, knocking people up across the galaxy.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
That's how he's coming to Earth, and that's how he's going to wherever Mantis is from.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So who else do we have here? That's it for especially page one.
Yep. And then there's another character who they're bringing in to, I believe, be the villain. Or at least that's what they've been saying.
Yeah.
The villain of the movie.
Um, who's that?
And that is Aisha.
Which they're changing. I know they're changing from the comics her story and backstory because in the comics she's a lot different. Um, but in the let's see, Aisha, she first appeared. She's a fairly old character too. She was in the
Hmm.
Incredible Hulk annual #6 back in 1977.
Yep.
So she's been around for a while.
And she went
Um,
by a different name back then as well. Back then, when she first appeared, she was actually operating under the name Paragon.
yes, there's Paragon. She's also been known as Kismet, Starduster. So
Hmm.
a couple different names.
Yeah. Some weird ones.
Yeah, yes, Jurita Starduster. Hmm, interesting.
Yeah.
So she's going to lead into something else that I want to talk to as we get into the end of this podcast here. I don't want to dive into some parts of her because it kind of is going to lead into more of what's going to go on probably in Guardians 3.
Yeah.
But she is part of the Perfect Race, which that is, in the movie, it's the Seven Young. Is that that's how they say it? Sauvignon or something like that. Sauvignon.
Yeah. Something. Well, I don't know if it's
Yeah.
Sauvignon because that's like a type of wine.
Yeah.
Sauvignon Blanc.
Sauvignon. I don't remember exactly how to pronounce it, but she is the leader of them. So she's
Hmm.
the one that controls it. They, of course, perfect race. They're all gold, which gold is meant to be perfect. You know, um, she originally hires the Guardians in the beginning of it, but then turns into the enemy afterwards. So, yeah, which is interesting. So we'll see them kind of on the same side to begin with, and then it switches and changes as the movie goes on, and she becomes the enemy. So,
Interesting.
yeah,
Interesting.
so be definitely interesting. What else do you know of her from the comics?
Well, few things I know of her from the comics are I think are probably what's tying into the end that you wanted to talk about. So I'll just say that in the trailer, she's also gold. She's also wearing gold clothes, and she's being played by Elizabeth Debicki.
Hmm.
So I'll contribute that. She does
Oh,
have some close ties with a couple of the characters who made up the original Guardians of the Galaxy when the comic first came out, which is pretty cool. So again, like you said, this is a character that's been around since the 70s, so she's always had ties with a lot of that cosmic stuff.
yeah.
And yeah, there's a specific character that I'm thinking of and a specific item that I'm thinking of that she seems to have really close ties with, but I think that that's what you wanted to do towards the end.
Because that's going to kind
So
of
I'll
lead
just,
into the
yeah,
next one. Yeah.
so I'll leave that open for now.
Cool. Cool. Um, so that's Ayesha, and that's the end of the podcast. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, we could talk about her powers. Like you said, she's, I mean, flight, regeneration, super strong.
Hmm.
I mean, she's an alien or like a cosmic being, so she can be in space. You know, it's like Superman. Like she can be in space and not die, and of course she can shoot energy blasts. So all the the power set that you'd expect from like a supreme being sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. The perfection that you get from from them being the perfect race.
Right. Hence the original name of Paragon, you know?
Yeah. Hmm. Exactly. Exactly. Um, as for other characters, I've got three other characters here that are newer ones that are bigger names. Other than that, there's really no one else that's bigger names, which is a nice thing because they don't introduce a lot of people. It's more of they're still going to focus on the Guardians. We're going to stick with what they have. They don't want to overdo it, and that's why, of course, one of the characters that we're going to talk about towards the end, um, that's why he's not in here. So,
Yeah.
and we were already told that. But first up, I have Mr. Sylvester Stallone is in the movie, which Stakar Ogord is who he's playing.
Okay.
Um, he's a captain of the Reavers
Ravagers.
or Ravagers. Sorry, why am I thinking Reavers? And
Logan.
that's how I have it wrote down here for Ravagers, not Reavers. Wow.
It's all right. Logan's a good movie. It's hard to get out of your head. I'm not going to hold
Yes.
it against you.
His first appearance, and he's been around for a while, was back in the Defenders, issue 27 in 1975.
Oh, very good.
So, a little tie in to the Defenders. Of course, he turns into someone when he combines with his wife in the comics. Who's that?
Firestorm.
Oh, God.
His wife, Dr. Stein, and they merge
Wow.
and they become Firestorm. Is that
Is
not
his
right?
partner? His partner? Oh, Lord. I think you might be a little off on that one. Just saying.
Yes, I think I am, and I actually don't know who he becomes when he merges. So, drum roll. Who is it?
Starhawk.
Starhawk.
Yeah.
Nice.
We don't know if he's going to become it in the movie. We don't even know how much we're going to see of Sly Stallone, but it was definitely a surprise to see that he was going to be in the actual movie.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
At the very least, set it up. If it does pretty well with this one, maybe we'll see him in a later movie as Starhawk.
that would be
Starhawk is
awesome.
a is one of those another one of those big cosmic players. So that's
Hmm.
awesome.
Yes, yes, exactly. So we won't dive into Starhawk too much because we don't want to, since he's not going to actually be playing that role in here. I know they were so tight-lipped about what Sylvester Stallone was going to be too,
Yeah.
for the longest time.
Yeah, I remember that I hearing rumor upon rumor that he was going to be the Beyonder, or he was going to be the Stranger, or he was going to be Chaos, or
Hmm.
all kinds of, I mean, just rumor after rumor, because Marvel Cosmic is so big and there's so many characters.
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly,
to hear that he's going to be playing one half of Starhawk, that's pretty cool.
exactly, exactly. So, next up we have, of course, the good old leader of the Ravagers who takes the place of Yondu. That's Taserface, played by
Taserface.
Chris Sullivan.
Right on.
So he kind of leads a mutiny, from what I understand, to take over the Ravagers there. Did I say
Perfect.
Reapers again? Yeah.
No, you said
Earlier. No, I
Ravagers.
did say
You said
Ravagers
Ravagers.
before.
I think you said
Yeah.
Ravagers, yeah. So
So,
excellent. So okay, so Taserface leads a mutiny, and that kind of explains where why Yondu's joining the Guardians. Excellent.
mm-hmm.
Very cool. Now Taserface is someone that they've already released pops for and everything for the part of
Yes.
the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. So he looks pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. He's an interesting character.
Yeah.
He hasn't been around for a super long time. He's fairly new, at least to the comic universe, because his first time that he showed up was in the Guardians #1 back in 1990.
Oh, okay.
So, which I think that was because the Guardians originated what 70s, wasn't I think?
Yeah, they'd been around for a little while before that big run. Now I hear that the '90s run of Guardians was phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
Had a lot of recommendations from people on various social media sites like, hey, if you're going to read Guardians, go read that '90s run
Yeah.
because it is top
Yeah.
notch. And it's a little bit more similar to the Guardians that we see in the movies too.
But he's also known as Overkill. And in the comics, here's a little interesting thing. He comes from a species, whose society is called the Stark.
Huh.
How do you think that interacts with what, who that is from?
I don't think it means anything. It could, but
It does, actually.
really?
Yeah. The whole society is run off Stark tech. So they're called the
Oh,
Stark. So they're run off of Tony Stark, aka Iron Man's tech. That's how
wow.
their society goes. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. I was like,
Yeah.
nice little tidbit of information.
All right.
So,
Okay. Oh,
yeah.
wow, that's very
So
interesting.
it's one of those things you would think, no, I can't mean that. Yeah, it does.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, um, and then finally, the final new character uh, that I have that actually is played by an actual actor, and it just doesn't say, the actor's name and then Ravager or whatnot, next to it, Ravager 1, Ravager 2, and that's Tulk, I think is how you say it, Tullk.
Sure.
It's played by Tommy Flanagan, which I was introduced to him from Sons of Anarchy.
Right.
So, but he's a bounty hunter. He's also a former Ravager.
Hmm.
And he's really, really new. He appeared first in its Annihilation Ronin issue 1 back in 2006. So, this. I mean, I went to a couple different sites to get a lot of this information. I stayed away from Wikipedia.
Yeah,
You know.
that's probably a good thing to do.
Mm-hmm. But
Oh, to answer your earlier question, it looks like the Guardians of the Galaxy appeared in Guardians of the Galaxy #1, or excuse me, Marvel Superheroes #18,
mm-hmm.
back in 1969. So I mean, they've been
69.
around for a long time.
Yeah, 69, baby.
But yeah, like none of the characters we've really seen. We haven't
Yeah.
seen Major Victory. We haven't seen or Captain Charlie 27. We have Yondu, and
Yeah.
there's mentions of Starhawk in that very first early initial run and all that. But yeah,
Yeah. Which no, Starhawk, it wasn't until the 1990 run.
oh, is that what that
Yeah.
is? Because I'm seeing right here during the
Doesn't say
course
Starhawk.
of the war against the Badoon, it got 3 more members.
Huh.
Okay.
Interesting, because so did they do Starhawk and before they even introduced not Taserface, Stakar Ogord, however you say that Fly's character?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm looking at
Interesting.
Starhawk, and it shows that he first appeared, yeah, like you were saying, Defenders in 1975. So he must have gone over at some point
Oh, I'm
into
think that's right. That's
Guardians.
right. I'm getting confused. I'm talking Taserface. That's right. Taserface
Ah,
was in 1991. Sorry, my bad.
all right. So we mentioned those three characters and those three actors, but I remember all kinds of reports that Michael Rosenbaum was cast in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2.
But we don't know anything about it. I'm
Interesting.
not. I'm not fine. I wasn't finding anything. I mean, he's as far as I know. I didn't even see him on IMDb yet.
Wow.
I mean, in
Well, I'm
IMDb, you take it
Yeah,
with a
they've
grain
been
of
letting us
salt,
down. They've
but
been letting us down lately. I mean, you remember when we did our Iron Fist episode, and it was like, yeah, Harold Meacham's in 6 episodes, and Ward's in one, and they were like both in all 13.
true, yeah. Which
They've been letting us down lately.
you don't know until after the series, comes out or after the movie comes out, all the official information. But
Yeah.
yeah, this I didn't even see anything. I mean,
Wow.
which was very very interesting.
So I
Um,
remember all the headlines and stuff. Now I remember there was also some not controversy, but there were some other things where before they mentioned that Sylvester Stallone is playing who he's playing, didn't he actually do some set pieces dressed up as Simon Williams?
I don't remember, to
And
tell you the
then
truth.
Gunn had to come out and be like, no, we were just playing around. Simon Williams isn't showing up in the movie, nor is Sylvester Stallone playing Simon Williams. Who Simon Williams, a lot of people uh, would be getting really excited. He is the Avenger known as Wonder Man,
Yes,
who
there was a
also
lot of
has
rumors about that.
very close ties to space.
Yeah, I don't know. Uh, oh, there is one person I did miss, or two people.
Oh, a couple. Okay, so who else?
Well, one that we may or may not see. It's hard to say. Or actually, a couple here that I missed. That not really big parts. They're just making cameos, kind of like what's his name in Star Wars: The Force Awakens. What's his name? The Mr. Bond. Him. Um,
Hmm?
the one that was playing the stormtrooper in Star Wars: The Force Awakens. The actor.
Which stormtrooper? Daniel Craig?
Yeah, Daniel Craig. That's it.
Oh, okay.
Kind of like that. But we have
Oh,
Miley Cyrus.
oh yeah, I heard about that one.
Supposedly she's Mainframe, the
Okay,
voice of Mainframe.
okay.
Um, which is interesting. And then we have David Hasselhoff. Izardu Hasselfru. Interesting. We might see the Grandmaster in here, so Jeff Goldblum. Who else? Ving Rhames
Right, yeah.
as Charlie 27.
Oh, nice.
Um,
We are going to get Charlie 27 in here.
yeah. But this is, of course, IMDb, so take this with a
Right.
grain of salt. Um, yeah, I don't even see
Oh yeah,
Michael
okay.
Rosenbaum whatsoever.
Okay, so this says Michael Rosenbaum is Martinex.
Yes, there it is. Yeah,
Ving
Martinez.
Rhames is Charlie 27. Michelle Yeoh is playing Alita Ogord, so she's the other half of Starhawk.
Yes.
Miley Cyrus is Mainframe, and then there's another character named Kruger, but they haven't announced the actor yet.
Yeah. So, interesting.
And I guess all those characters are the ones that made up the original Guardians of the Galaxy. So the original Guardians was Starhawk, Yondu, Martinex, Charlie 27, Mainframe, and Kruger. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Hmm. Interesting. Um, Cool. All right, so let's move on to this. Since we're getting towards the end here, we're already, decent amount of time in. Let's
Okay.
just briefly talk about the story that we know, because we don't really know a lot about it. Because we know, of course, the Aisha comes in. She hires the Guardians. They to kill the obelisk, which everyone thinks it's what's that thing from Doctor Strange with the tentacles? I can't think of the name.
I have no idea. Don't ask me about
It's in
Doctor
that
Strange.
Lego. I have it in the Lego set and stuff like that.
Right. Oh, the Sarlacc.
The Sarlacc, yes. Everyone's like, yes, it's a Sarlacc that they're fighting. No, it's the obelisk. It's something different, but it looks like it could be.
The Shumagorath.
Yeah. uh, and they do it supposedly, from what I heard, in exchange to free Nebula, because she was captured by them.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But then they end up, something goes awry, and then she wants to go after the Guardian. Oh, because I think something like Rocket steals something or something like that, I believe.
Probably. It sounds
So-
like something that Rocket would do. You giggled when I said Shumagorath, but that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Tentacled thing is what it's called.
Yeah, because the Sarlacc is...
Sarlacc is Star Wars. That's why I said it, because it was a joke.
Yeah. From the, when the Boba Fett fell in?
Mhm.
Supposedly?
Yep.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
Because he might
Allegedly.
still be alive at some point. I don't know. Anyways, so we know that at least what I read, Aisha then hires Yondu, who had already been ousted as the leader of the Ravagers, to go capture the Guardians.
Okay.
Ego is supposedly a celestial in here instead of an elder, which is an interesting little twist. But we don't get so much with the celestials in this. I know we're gonna see a lot more in Thor.
Right.
Ragnarok, because there's a lot of ties with the celestials in that one. So that one's huge, and the elders too, of course, because of the Grandmaster and stuff like that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's really basically all. I mean, we know he meets his father, and then other than that, we don't know. It doesn't tie into this any of the. We don't see the final Infinity Stone. Not like we saw the Infinity Stone that played such a big role in the first one. So.
Right.
But they have to save the galaxy at one point, of course.
Mm-hmm. Naturally.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. Other than that, I did hear because some of the early reviews are out. And I was watching actually Emergency Awesome's one, and he said that Michael Rooker was like the star of the movie. So.
Oh yeah, he's definitely a scene stealer. I mean,
Yeah.
all of his stuff when he was in The Walking Dead season 1, and then again in season 3 was phenomenal stuff. He's just one of those guys that's got that gravity and that charisma about him as an actor, and
yeah, well,
is really good.
You would think that it would be all about Baby Groot, because that's what they've been so heavily weighing on, with all the trailers and all that stuff. But he said, yeah, the Baby Groot was good, but Yondu was the highlight. So.
Well, you put Baby Groot out there because people are going to buy Baby Groot stuff for their kids, for their wives, for their girlfriends, for themselves. I mean, it's the most adorable thing. Yondu's not very cute. Mm-hmm. So sell Yondu to a 4-year-old. You're not going to be able to do it. Sell Baby Groot to a 4-year-old. They're going to like it.
So, anything else that you know of the story?
Well, no. I've seen the trailers, and that's about it. I don't really read up on movies anymore. I don't really pay attention to the early reviews and stuff, just because I'm going to go in there and I'm going to watch a movie and I'm going to make form my own opinion and stuff on it. So I haven't been paying too much attention. I'll watch the trailers. I love watching the trailers and just kind of guessing, but I try not to know as much about it, try to know as little about it as I can going in. So based on the trailers, I'm not really sure exactly what the story is at all.
Yeah.
There's really no cohesion, which is awesome because we kind of live in that age right now where trailers pretty much give us the whole damn plot of a movie, and they've done a phenomenal job of not explaining the plot
Mm-hmm.
in this one. So
Exactly.
I'm
Exactly.
excited. They've done a
Yeah.
really good job.
So leading into what we're gonna see with where the story is gonna go after this, that's kind of the few things that I wanted to finish up talking about. The first is, of course, what are they going to do with some of these characters that they have in there? I mean, we know that they're in Infinity War. The five main characters from the first that are moved into the second, and then in there. Um, I don't know if I've heard about Yondu or Nebula yet showing up. Which,
I thought I heard that Rooker was on set for Infinity War,
yeah,
but I don't quote me on it.
and then we do know that Mantis it will officially be in it too. So,
In Infinity War?
mm-hmm.
Nice. Well, I
Yes,
mean, there's what, 68 or something like that characters that are supposed to appear in the movie, at
yeah,
least in some way. So whether that, like, it could, for all we know, it's like the Milano shows up, the door opens, they're all standing there, and then Star-Lord leaves the ship, because it's Earth. So he comes home. The rest of the Guardians are like, all right, we'll see you. We dropped you
yeah.
off, like, and there it is. There's the seven character.
Well, we
So
think
we
it's
have no
Earth.
idea how it's going to work in Infinity War.
Yeah, we think it could be on Earth. We don't know because Thanos has to go around the galaxy to collect all the Infinity Stones. So
Yeah, I
they're
mean, I
not
heard that
just
he
on
comes to
Earth.
Earth to get the last ones
Yeah,
because he's already got. I mean, we've already seen him with the gauntlet on, and
yeah,
he's got like two or three of them already, and it's like
he does.
he might only have one. I don't really
So I
know,
was gonna
but we know
say
that there's like three of them are on Earth.
the Collector has one. There's one with the Nova Corps.
Hmm.
One we don't know about yet.
Right?
We got one with Vision.
Uh huh.
What's the
Doctor
other one?
Strange
And Doctor Strange. So two on Earth officially. The
and
third one,
whatever. Oh yeah, I was gonna
the
say
one.
wherever whatever happened with the Tesseract, which I think Odin has.
No, that's the one that they went to the Collector. Remember?
That
It was the post-credit scene.
that's right. They gave him the Tesseract and
Yeah,
the Ether
yeah. So
because they had two, and they're like, we don't want this shit.
yeah. So they gave him, yeah, they were like, here, hold on to this stuff. You're an elder. It's a good spot to hold it. Because he doesn't have, of course, the other one because the Nova Corps has the other one. So
Right. There's what, six total, and we know the whereabouts of five. I
is it five or six?
think it might be five because it's like no, there's six because there's one on each finger, and then the one in the middle.
Collector. We
Two.
have
The collector has
Nova,
two. The
two on
collector has
Earth.
two.
No, Collector only has one.
The collector has the Ether and the Tesseract. That's two.
The Tesseract, though, is in Vision's head.
Is it?
Yeah, because they opened it up, remember?
Oh,
That's how, because Ultron opened it up and put it in his. That's when it went into Vision's head. So Collector has
gotcha.
one from
Gotcha. Okay, so
Thor.
collector has the
Then we have
Ether.
Nova Corps. We have Vision, Doctor Strange, and then the fifth we will probably find in either. Well, it's got to be Thor or Black Panther. So
And it's the
yeah,
Soul Gem that's the one that's left.
yeah, yeah. Because we got the
Yeah,
timeline
there's
one.
five.
Yeah.
Nope, there's six. There's the Space Stone, which, oh, that's right. Yeah, the Space Stone, which is with um, Heimdall. There's the Mind Stone, that's on Vision. There's the Reality Stone, which was the Ether, that's with the Collector. There's the Power Stone, that's the one that's with the Nova Corps. There's the Time Stone, that's the one that's with Doctor Strange. And then there's the Soul Stone, which is the one that we don't know.
Hmm.
So there's stone, time, power, reality, mind, and space.
That's five.
Space, mind, and reality. That's 3. Power, time, and soul. That's another
Okay.
3. That's 6.
So
The Space
Collector,
Stone was the one that was in
Over.
the Tesseract, and that's the one that Thor takes back with him at the end of Avengers when he takes Loki. The Mind Gem wasn't in the Tesseract. The Mind Gem was in the scepter that Loki had that they took.
Oh,
That's
that's
what
right.
Ultron breaks and puts in
That's right.
Vision.
Yes.
The
That's
Tesseract
right.
was taken um, back to Odin with Thor when Thor takes Loki at the end of Avengers.
Mhm.
And from what I understand is the Space Stone was given to Heimdall. And that's why he can, because the Rainbow Bridge is broken. So they gave Heimdall the Space Stone, and that's how he's able to transport Thor and all that.
Mm,
Because the Rainbow Bridge is broken. So it's like, how does Thor keep getting back to freaking Midgard without the damn Rainbow Bridge?
true.
It's
True.
because Heimdall now has the Space Stone, so he can open those like wormhole things.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, Space Stone was a Tesseract. Heimdall. Yes.
Yep.
There we go. Mind Stone, which is with Vision.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
That was in the Scepter. Yeah.
Yep.
Reality Stone Red.
And that's the one that's with the
The
Collector,
Collector. And
or
then we
was at
have the
least.
purple one, which is the Power Stone, which is
Yep.
Nova.
Mm-hmm.
Time Stone, which is in the Eye of Agamotto.
Yep.
And then the final one, we don't know about.
Exactly, which is the Soul Stone. Now, I know that people are saying, I know that there was the theory that what was left was the Reality Stone, but we know that that's not true anymore. We know that that was actually the Ether was the red, that was the Reality Stone, but that's the one that they had given to the Collector. So the one that is left over is the Soul Stone. So it does still kind of make sense that that would be the one that Hela was after in Thor, because she's the goddess of death, and a lot of the rumors are that she's being set up to kind of be Death in the MCU, which would explain, why she's teaming up with Thanos and stuff possibly. But what I was talking about earlier, and I didn't want to go into it with Aisha, is Aisha is one of the, the perfect beings like you had mentioned. She has ties to the other character that we'll talk about here real soon. I'm just going to name drop him real quick though. Adam Warlock, the other dude who's gold, but they have ties to the Soul Stone as well. So we might get a glimpse of it, or at least a mention of it in Guardians of the Galaxy.
The only reason why I don't see that happening is just because they have been very adamant on that, and they have said it over and over that this does not tie to or does not have anything to do with the actual stones and with what we've seen. It's a moving its own, maybe an Easter egg type thing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it might be mentioned, but not be part of the story.
Yeah. All the stones have been completely different from what the comics portray them as anyway.
Yep.
So
yeah, exactly. The colors are all different, and kind of like their powers and stuff have also been a little, have varied a little bit. So that's pretty cool.
So finishing up, Adam Warlock. That's the one character we know. We do know now that he was going to be in here. That was going to be a character in here, but Mantis is also in here, and James Gunn was like, I don't want to take away from Mantis.
Yeah.
So he's like, let's pull out Adam Warlock. Let's save him for later. Because at first, no one knew what was going to go on. They're like, Adam Warlock's huge for dealing with, Aisha and, all this. So why is he not in here? But now it makes a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Why,
Yeah.
So it'd be nice, and he will be in Volume 3. We do know that.
Yeah, James Gunn pretty much came out and confirmed, because he confirmed they are doing Guardians 3, that he will write and direct it, and that Adam Warlock will finally be in it, which makes sense, because if it comes out, right after Avengers 4, that they would have to set up the Infinity Watch, after the whole, after the Infinity War that we're going to get with Thanos, and eventually defeating Thanos, taking the Infinity Stones back and sending them various places. And then they had to create the Infinity Watch to make sure nothing like that ever happens again. So it makes sense that we're going to see Adam Warlock come into the universe after that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, yeah, because in the comics, he's part of the Enclave, that's where Aisha's from
Mm-hmm.
too, and they're
Mm-hmm.
created by scientists.
Yep.
So on
And
Earth,
the comic that's like Adam Warlock's main comic was, Adam Warlock and the Infinity Watch, and he was pretty much like it's his job to safeguard him, and
hmm
make sure that that never happens again.
yeah, yeah. So
So if we brought him in before Thanos gets them all, then it's like way to fail at your job, bruh. so
exactly,
so
good
bringing them
job,
in afterwards, it's like, all right,
good
cool.
job.
Now we have someone that
hmm
can watch him.
Yeah, yeah,
So way to drop the
exactly.
ball there, Adam. Thanks a lot, pal. Yeah.
But we do know, of course, moving into the third one, that's the final one for the original team. So we don't know who's going to move on. Supposedly in the works also was a Groot Rocket Raccoon spin-off movie, which would be
Yeah, that'd be
interesting.
cool. That'd be cool.
I would, to tell you the truth, please do a prequel. Could you imagine seeing like how they met and how they became like the friends they are, and kind of where both of their origins really are from, because we don't know much about it. We know Groot's from a planet of a bunch of Groots.
Right.
We hear it when they go and see the Collector, and he's like, "I never thought I'd ever see a Groot." You know,
Right.
so I think that would be a cool thing to see. Really see their backstory. I don't care about Drax's backstory. We know enough about it, why he's doing it, what and where he kind of came from, and why he is the way he is from the first Guardians. I mean, we know of Gamora and Nebula. I mean, really, they're the two that we don't know that much about, at least their backstories, at least in the MCU. So that would be cool. Well, we've been rambling on for a long time this episode, so
Right on.
any final thoughts?
No, not really. I'm pretty excited to see this movie. It's probably the MCU movie I'm looking forward to most this year, so that should be
Mhm.
pretty exciting.
Yeah. Even though Thor keeps picking up more and more steam with what it's doing, in a way.
Yeah,
Now, some of
I'm
the
excited.
characters are
This, I
bringing
mean,
it,
this
but yeah,
it should
this
be the
is,
best Thor that we've
yeah,
seen.
yeah.
But I'm still more excited for
So,
Guardians too.
me too. Me too. I am. Yeah, yeah. I'm excited. I'm going next Thursday. I know there's reviews out there, but I'm gonna say screw it, and I'm gonna put out my own review that night.
Yeah.
Even though reviews have dropped this week, which is starting to really annoy me. But we won't go into a rant. So,
No, it really, it gives people preconceived notions, and then they
yeah,
go in and they might not expect it or they might not enjoy it as much, or they might enjoy it too much,
yeah,
because they've been fed, you know, the thing with a movie review is that like it's somebody else's opinion,
yeah.
and just because they're professional reviewers, professional film critics doesn't necessarily mean that's how it's going to land for
Yeah,
you. So it's like you have to
exactly.
go in with your own opinions.
So, cool. Well, on that final note, thank you for tuning in and listening to us ramble about the Guardians. Hopefully, you enjoyed it. And you got some knowledge out of this episode. As always, though, please, everything down below, check out all the links, hit that like and follow on the YouTube. Follow us on iTunes or wherever else you listen to your podcasts. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. He's got his MySpace and Tumblr. Also, Patreon is there. And then the next thing, of course, I am going to officially be relaunching my Twitch page this coming weekend because of some YouTube stuff, which we won't go into that. That's a whole nother story. Um, but I'm looking at going live with Nerds of the Roundtable this weekend on Twitch, and hopefully be moving this to that platform too for all of our live podcasts. As long as Blow on This, which we have 2 great weekends of Nerds of the Roundtable. We have Tabletop Day, so it's not going to be the greatest episode just to listen to. It's going to be more of a video you want to watch. And then the following weekend we have Free Comic Book Day, which is going to be fun. I'm excited. Have a good topic for that day, so that we're going to dive into.
Nice.
Um, and then Of course, Unleashing next week. We got more Guardians for you. We haven't picked the story arc that we want to read yet, and we're gonna dive into and explain more about. Hopefully, something we can find that's related to the movies too, that we can give you more knowledge on. And then, of course, the following week we'll have our spoiler-filled review, where we show all the excitement that we have, or disappointment, or whatever. Which I think it's gonna be excitement still. So
Yeah.
yeah, but so yeah, stay tuned for all of that. Below on This also is coming up next week. We got episode 2 of that coming out. So Dale and I will be recording that. So as always though, please don't forget to unleash your inner nerd. And you will see us or hear from us next week. Peace.